What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Commentary for you. We've had a lot to talk about. Chantal, over 2 hours to clear 1,000 views. We're back at Hardee's to eat more junk. And Chantal attempts to troll in this video, but I want you to take a close look at this smile and understand this is natural Chantal. You can't script this, although she tries to script much of this video. That is real happiness. And we only see this in moments that she shares with food. I mean, let's be fair. Dunking an uncrisp, lukewarm sandwich into a tub of soybean based Santa Fe sauce that has been room temp for hours. Yeah, Chantal, you're really getting it over on all the reactors. Barely able to move your fingers apart, sauce covering them in your mouth while you proclaim we must all order this, quote, for real. Let me ask, what happened to food reviewer Foodie? Remember the last time you were at Hardee's? That's how you justified it to your audience, who's growing ever tired of seeing this, that you were going to be a food reviewer. You've not done it since. Because you eat what you want, and no one is going to stop you. As a foodie, you go on to say this sandwich is, quote, unmatched. Chantal, it's fast food. It's a convenience product. No one thinks that this food is the gold standard in anything. And of course, it's your first meal of the day. And you'll have dinner with, quote, your husband later. And she goes on to tell us multiple times, in her opinion, this is the best. Chantal, if it's so great, why do you have to coat it in sauce to enjoy it? Why are you 5 minutes in talking about other foods? How you want to try White Castle. You can't have it. You've only had it frozen. It's not in Canada. It's not in Kuwait. You've used almost the full tub of sauce halfway through the sandwich. Her phone runs out of memory, and we get this jump cut back to the other sandwich. And she mocks the audience in advance for questioning why she needs two sandwiches. And she says that this is okay because Salah doesn't want the other one, so this is just more for her. And she goes on to say that these sandwiches are so good they should be illegal. Through 9 minutes, she really has not spoke about anything. So she decides to start trolling. First by saying that her husband, quote, locked her out of the man cave. Chantal, you often try to use comedy to remove yourself from the truth. Even when you don't realize it, you do it. In this mukbang, for example, you know you shouldn't have both sandwiches. You know your viewers don't want to see you eat both sandwiches. But you insert humor to break that tension. That's why you joke about it being illegal. That's why you joke about it being your real love. Santa Fe is Bay in the thumbnail. We saw what happened the other night. Okay, Salah asked you to bring him something. You walked back to a locked door. You had to knock, wait a meaningful amount of time, and then he let you in. No matter how eager you are to put a different spin on that, it's what happened. The room isn't that large. It doesn't take him 30 seconds to just get up and walk. But here you are, sitting and saying, oh, he locked me out. I'm all by myself. Chantal, that wasn't the point anyone was trying to make. Listen, you weren't alone that night. And you're likely not alone there now. The issue people have isn't that you were alone. It's that you were there with someone. And that someone clearly doesn't want the food you order, and they clearly don't want you in their space unannounced. Meanwhile, you want to constantly project that, you eat together every day. You snuggle and cuddle watching movies all hours. She then says, whenever she thinks about being by herself, she thinks about the bonus track on Green Day, Dookie, Salah's favorite album. She then tries to go back to trolling, how she's just there to exist, that her marriage and everything is fake. Chantal, most certainly what is fake is the facade that you put up about caring about your health and wanting to make changes. And I want to include some comments from your own video today, viewers that are allowed to still post. Because you can carry on the theatrics that Salah doesn't live there, separate apartments. Again, Chantal, the issue is that you claim to have this as your home, and he locked you out of his room for a long time. Separate apartments would have prevented any of that humiliation or you needing to address it at all. So when you mockingly say that you're just going to stay there and be miserable, the truth is that is going to be the case and you don't have a choice. Your mobility is worse than ever, and you keep the fast food pedal to the metal. Your stomach hits the horn getting into the car. You moan and groan going over speed bumps. And last night, you drug your foot all over a parking lot. You can joke that your eyes are watering due to sadness, Chantal. If you were honest, your eyes have been, quote, leaking for some time. And you've tried to find a medical answer as to why. Of course, this all gets surmised with, Girl World was right. That's her quote. How she could not have seen it. Chantal is the third wife. He has 4 kids. She's going to be kicked out of Kuwait. And she ends laughing that her world is crashing down and dramatically stops filming. You couldn't have a more failed attempt at trolling. Because Chantal, you don't even know the truth and all that. Your world has been crashing down. You can blame reactors, you can blame Girl World, but the reality is you are very selfish. Okay, Salah has made it clear he doesn't like this food. Yet you order multiples of it so that you can eat it alone. That's what's really happening. You can mask it with, I'm a food channel. But these videos, Chantal, you and I both know, they barely cover the cost of what you order. And the fact that you can turn it into content is likely you justifying eating it. Much like the animals, whether they're strays, whether they're not, you use them as a prop. The mukbangs are simply a means to an end for you to eat what you want. Doctors have told you to improve your eating. They've given you guidelines for portions which you simply also laughed off. 1 palmful of rice became 1 handful, became 2 handfuls, became the whole bag. And this whole, quote, I'm eating pasta at 4 a.m. while I was asleep since I couldn't go get takeout, that doesn't really project the happy wife, happy life that you think it does. In fact, all that does is strengthen the talking points the community has. And like I've shown here, your beezers are also done with this. So when you boil everything down, Chantal, like when you cook, you boil everything down till it becomes, mush and unrecognizable. You can take a few priorities away in almost everyone's life, right? We're all fundamentally the same. I think a lot of people would prioritize their own health. As we talked about, Chantal, you actively defy doctor's orders. You refuse to get proper treatment. And you take the same path you have shown that creates more problems in your life. To a lot of people in your situation, the second priority would be marriage, the health of the relationship. Well, the couples channel content never happened. Salah seems content, touching and squeezing your face on camera or laughing and singing from afar. He recently told you to leave a McDonald's and limit the, quote, treats that you have. Your response to him was to admit that you're taking his snacks, hiding meals at 4 a.m., and of course, eating 2 sandwiches at a time. And of course, the fact that, he, quote, tackles you. Chantal, let me just be blunt with you. If Salah could tackle you, it's not a good idea because anything that happens to you at this point from an injury standpoint is likely going to create the loss of mobility. I don't believe that a team of people could tackle you, much less Salah. And lastly, your job would be a priority to most people. And Chantal, you love to come on here and project this is your job. Well, your audience is the only thing getting smaller by the day. This video proves you continue to mock them, block them, and simply ignore every suggestion, regardless of how good-natured it is. You tell them they're justified in wanting you to change. But then, when it becomes too difficult, you tell them it's none of their business. It's their business in terms of your income, Chantal. The chat has shown you they're tired of the final fast food meal, restaurant to restaurant. They're tired of losing 200 pounds the fun way. They're tired of having everything they bring to you be ignored. So the case is pretty cut and dry, Chantal. Your health, your marriage, your income. The reality is they're all deteriorating. In large part because seemingly you're choosing to eat junk food over everything else. So you can sit here and dramatically end a video and tell us we're all wrong, but the reality is, Chantal, I don't have to dramatically end this one to tell you that we're actually all right. I'm going to leave you with the top comments from last video. I appreciate each and every one of you. And you know, when there's bonus sandwiches to be had, there's no way I will not be back as soon as I can with more commentary.